Same old trouble, villains always knocking at the door. Pretty pictures on the page, but nothing ever stays the same.
Thank you, Vandello, and welcome once again to Graphically Novel. My name is Josh Wasta, a.k.a. Fallout Fury. And with me is,
Yeah? What you got?
Oh, I was going to lead up to it, but I'll just go. Tactile kinesis mixed with the phrase, "Hello, Megan!" It's Bear.
So what you're saying is I am, like, the butt of all the jokes.
You are the worst parts of
both
both the
parts of everything.
Tactile telekinesis.
telekinesis.
Hello, Wasta!
Oh, no, never again. Never, ever again.
Well, I guess thanks for that. And with us, as always, the lovely and talented, the Baronessa, Ms. Jennifer Howland, our McGann.
Shapeshifter. And my pleasure to introduce my child. Well, my other child. We've had one of my children on the show.
Yes, we did have Ashley. Yes. Yep.
Alex Laubacher. Alexander Laubacher.
Ooh.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I didn't use your middle name, so you're not in trouble.
Yet.
And today we will be doing Young Justice, which was a trial? I mean, okay.
It wasn't that bad.
We'll get into it. It got better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But...
It's like getting turned into a newt. Like,
yes.
I got better.
yeah.
But before we get into it, we have two things. The first of which...
So the first thing is we always ask our guests what their introduction to Cuz. And even though I'm your mother, I don't know what your introduction to comics. I have a suspicion, but we'll let you go ahead.
I think, if I remember correctly, it's either one of the old Spider-Man volume or the Star Wars graphic novel.
That's what I was thinking. But I'm thinking it might be Spider-Man, because we didn't have any like superhero shirts or anything like that in the house. And then I think for Ashley's birthday, somebody gave her a Spider-Man shirt. And you were like, "Oh, what's that?"
See something, gotta have it.
Yeah.
I think that works a lot with siblings, though, too, because
Yeah.
I didn't get into half of the fantasy novels that I read if I hadn't, like, seen my older brother reading them and go, "Hey, what's that?"
Phil and I got into those at the same time. Like, I would discover something, or one of my friends would tell me about something, and, like, so role-playing games. We had moved to a new school district. I met Jay Bloomy. He started me into gaming. Phil took that because he started gaming with us. He was the one that found Dragonlance.
Yeah.
And brought that back to the house. And then, before we knew it, both of us were reading that and then, like, spiraling out into other...
Oh, yeah, it spirals out of control.
Yeah, it's...
Usually, like, one sibling sees something, and then another one's just, like... They usually have two responses. Either, "Hey, that's cool, what's that?" Or, "No.
That's
no,
your thing.
That's your thing, you're weird, get
Yeah.
away from me."
Yeah.
So what do you read now? Do you have any comics that you kind of keep track of, or...
I think right now I'm following the current run on both Batman and Nightwing.
Nightwing is so good right now.
I have gone back and read the 1998 Nightwing as well, which was also pretty good. Nightwing is a pretty solid, consistent character.
Yeah, Dick is pretty good. Well, when it's in a Nightwing comic.
So, I was gonna say, you like the good Dick, then.
I do like the good Dick. So the other thing before we get into this is walking through Hy-Vee today.
Here we go. Throwback to season 3.
Yep, I saw something that just jumped out to me for our Young Justice episode, because this is ostensibly a comic and a show about teenagers. So this is Alcoholic Mountain Dew. It just came out. It is in 4 different flavors.
And is literally a Mountain Dew brand, yes?
Oh, God, yeah. It is zero sugar Mountain Dew. It actually looks like the same designers that did all of the Old Spice, the newer ones, right?
Lovely.
Designed a bunch of cans. So it comes in regular. It comes in black cherry, watermelon, and Baja Blast.
So I want to
Wow.
make a disclaimer. My child is of drinking age.
It's true.
So we will force him to partake as well. Also,
dear.
just to let you know, there are tornadoes around us.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess it is the season.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so who wants what flavor?
Killer.
The OG?
We should probably mix them up, so I'll go with black cherry.
Okay. Black cherry.
Mine's got eagly on it.
Alex, do you have a preference?
Let's try the watermelon, won't we?
Watermelon? That
Or
leaves
something.
me with the Taco Bell flavor Baja
yeah.
Blast.
Alright, is this
so
going to be
afraid.
awful? Does
Yes.
this actually have, like, NutraSweet or some crap in it?
Don't know.
It does have artificial sweetener.
It
Let's find out.
does taste like Baja Blast. Does it taste like Mountain Dew?
You know what? It does, but it's not as sweet as I was used to. So I'm going to say this isn't terrible.
So the black cherry, like, I can kind of taste a little bit. Like, if you're not like me, I'm, like, not an artificial sweetener guy. And this is actually pretty subtle. Like, I don't really
You
notice
want
it
to
that
try
much.
the regular?
Yeah, sure, why not?
This isn't horrible.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. So,
I don't.
oh, well, yeah.
That tastes like cough syrup.
See, I can taste more of the, and see, that's the reason why I can't taste as much of the
Ah.
artificial sweetener in it.
That's nasty. I don't like the.
Yeah, you gotta like black cherry, like alcoholic
Yeah.
flavor, yeah, black cherry flavored drinks.
I like cherry. I don't like that either.
Baja Blast?
I'll try. Let me try the Baja Blast. Here, try the cherry.
Oh dear.
Oh, that's awful. Oh, that's so bad.
See, I like fake cherry. So.
Did you try this?
See, out of all of them, I don't even want to try the watermelon just because I like
Do you want to try the regular?
watermelon flavored stuff is. You can try the cherry if you want, but
No.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, no.
Yeah. Okay.
like the cherry isn't. I don't think as bad because I don't mind fake cherry, and I can barely taste the artificial sweetener in it. All the other ones, I can taste the
Yeah.
artificial sweetener in real bad.
And this is watermelon flavor, so that's gonna be 100%.
Yeah.
I can't even know. I don't even want to imagine what that tastes like.
Watermelon Jolly Ranchers and Mountain Dew.
Oh, gross. Anyway,
It just tastes like watermelon Jolly Rancher.
Nice.
Yeah. That's this tastes like watered down, which is fine.
Which is what Diet Mountain Dew tastes like. So, Young Justice.
Anyway,
I feel like you just did me an injustice.
Soon.
Yes.
Injustice is coming
I
out.
watched the animated.
Yeah, I did
Yeah.
too. Yeah, we'll get into
We'll
that
get into
when
that.
we have an actual show on it. So a little background on Young Justice. That I don't know how much Jenn and Alex will pick up on this, but as we are as we have discussed things that we read when we were younger with our siblings, Phil and I both hit a big Star Trek like novel phase.
Okay.
A ton of the novels. Young Justice was created and written by Peter David, which is the man that wrote Imzadi, which is like the best of all of the Star Trek The Next Generation.
To get off the.
Let's not.
Having thunderstorm issues?
No.
Alright.
what kind of noise trying to make?
Are you
Are you okay?
Do I need to pause?
are you in
Yeah.
pain? Are
No.
you in
No. This is.
Okay, future me. Cut back in. But yeah, Peter David, he also co-wrote Babylon 5 with
Oh, okay.
with Straczynski, who we have discussed over on Rec Conversations a bunch of Spider-Man. But yeah, so well-known, prolific author.
I was actually looking up his some of his stuff earlier, and I guess he also did
12 Years of the Hulk.
and he also did Ben 10 and a
Yep.
mess of other stuff too. Very much in the teen genre as well as
Yep.
like all over the like he's done
Yeah.
everything.
Did some Teen Titans, which is a team that we're gonna have to bring up to discuss because this is such a weird, like, team, especially the show, because the show kind of pretends like Teen Titans never existed.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Whereas the comic, this is the next generation, basically, of Teen Titans. While Teen Titans left and did their own thing without the Justice League, this was a Justice League sponsored, the developmental So the NXT of of superheroes.
Well, I mean, I kind of felt like, even though it kind of turned into that, it felt to me that it started out as, well, they're going to go out and do stuff, so we might as well, like, put them somewhere together and have
Where we
someone
can keep
watch
an eye on
them.
them. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which comes across a lot better in the show than it does in the comic.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk a little bit about the comic before getting into the show. Again, we try not to do tons of spoilers, but I think it's gonna be difficult to talk about the subject material without ruining or like spoiling some things. But that's okay because.
Do you think our listeners are gonna get fighting mad about it?
Well, let me say this was 1990.
Good one.
Damn, I didn't even.
Right over the top of your head, you weren't even paying attention.
So yes, there are characters called Fight and Mad.
I would like to point out Special Agent Donald Fight and his partner, Special Agent Ishido Mad.
Yeah.
Fight
There are
and Mad.
ton of puns in the comics.
The teen puns are all. Of course, they were. David was our age. He was 42 when he wrote this. So yeah. The
that
puns
dude
are all over
and
the
he
place.
has no excuse for some of the shit he wrote then.
Yeah.
Absolutely zero.
As I was getting into, this was 1998. But
Yes.
from modern standards, man, there's some problematic parts in this comic.
Well, okay. Let's just start with the. It's a team of boys.
To
It's
begin with,
boys.
yes.
Yeah. And you kind of get the feeling they've been together as a trio for a while.
So, Alex, was this the first time you'd read the comic?
Yeah, the original comic.
Yeah. And so, what did you think?
The Flash in the show is so much more bearable, even like on an animated media compared to just reading it.
Yeah.
It's pretty cringeworthy on the page.
It is.
The traction I have in the comparison is that the show puts him.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, later in his life, yeah. And also, okay, so we're dealing with different characters in the show, which we'll get to in a second, but it's important if you've only seen the show to understand. First of all, comic book, this is Tim Drake Robin, which is a very different Robin.
Yeah.
You don't find out that it's Dick Grayson Robin in the show until like towards the end of the first season, when they finally have they go to a circus, his old circus.
I thought that there was a scene where it was some an end scene in one of the episodes where they were at a Gotham, and it was Dick out of costume meeting up with Artemis out of costume, even though they didn't recognize each other.
You're right.
Yeah.
And then Barbara comes up and asks Dick who that was.
You're right.
Right.
You're right. So they did. Yeah, it is. They're really messing with the DC timeline in the series as well. The other part is they did Superboy very differently. They did Connor Kent Superboy is still. I mean, it's still Connor Kent, but it is the comic is the straight '90s Death of Superman Connor Kent.
That was what I was gonna say. It was Death of Superman, Superboy, and the show Superboy is its own character.
Right, and for so much better.
Yeah.
Well, and it fit so the Superboy character in the show fit the storyline much better.
Yeah.
And it also, I mean, I think that it made so much more sense than the Superboy.
I think he was a better character in the
Yeah.
show because
Yeah.
I appreciated the broody, teen, angsty Superboy more than the, I want to wrestle with the scientist, the archaeologist that turned into Catgirl with huge boobs.
So, okay. And that's my main point, is that in the first, I'm going to say 4-ish. I'll go with 4. Even the first one that the girls join. This is a horny-ass comic. This is a...
I think it's number it's either number 3 or number 4 where I finally actually started to get kind of interested in it, where they introduced Harm.
That 4 was where they introduced Harm, because that was the Halloween party No, 3 was the Halloween
3
party.
was the Halloween party.
Yeah, 4 was when the girls showed up, and so that shows the first like secret joining and everything. And then 5 is where I got really, because 5 is especially the end of issue 5. We'll spoil out, but yeah, extremely like it got better as it went on. But you're right, Jen, when you said it's originally a book about teenage boys.
Well,
and
3 boys
Yes.
specifically. And, you know, I also have to say that the first issue, maybe the first and second, reminded me of, so my first experience with comics was the Archie you could get in the grocery store.
Sure.
And that felt a lot like the Archie from 7, the first issue of Young Justice, because it was cringy, and it was guys gonna be guys kind of.
Well, okay, but it's not just the character's behavior, it's what's happening in the comic. Bear alluded to it. So you had the archaeologist Nina Dowd, who is N. Dowd.
No, she becomes.
No.
She's
Her
Nina.
original name is Nina Dowd,
Right.
which is N. Dowd.
Right.
And then when she becomes a supervillain Catwoman with giant breasts, she is Mighty Endowed.
Right.
And her breasts are so large that she becomes top heavy and falls over. And like,
I would like to point out that you don't ever actually see that. I mean, we've already spoiled the hell out of the first comic, the first issue, but you don't ever actually see that in the comic. It's there's like smoke and dust from the explosion.
you don't see
everywhere.
her chest.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, right.
So you just see her like rant for like 3 panels and then faceplant.
Well,
Yeah.
except the boys are also saying things like she has huge tracts of land,
Yeah.
which is the most overused
Yeah.
Monty Python quote in the world.
Believe me, I have heard every.
But there's also parts throughout the comic, like at one point a woman asks Robin if that's a batarang in his pocket or if he's just happy to see her.
That was a Halloween issue.
At one point, they save a sheik who looks and talks like he's coded Jewish for
Yes.
some reason.
And his name is Al Ben Stein.
Yes. But he says you may have anything you want, and basically Superboy is looking at one of his harem sex slave girls, is like, I know what I want.
Yeah.
Well, also, it's Superboy and is it Impulse?
Impulse, yeah.
Are with the harem. They're like hanging out with all the girls while
Yes.
Robin's out doing the actual work.
Right. And I don't know if you caught it, but on the cover of one of the issues, all the boys are like in a clubhouse type thing, just the cover. But on it says, He-Man Woman Haters.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, problematic comic book.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, very much so. And not even just in that, like, they go to the Great Wall of China and save people. All the people they save are white.
Yes.
Also, there are nuns at the Great Wall of China with a station wagon full of explosives. That's never explained.
Also white nuns.
White nuns.
Yes.
Well, yes. White Christian nuns at
That's
the Great
right.
Wall of China with their explosive-filled
Right.
station wagon.
It was white people's day in China.
All along the wall.
Yeah. But yeah, so Bear, other than what we've gone over, what'd you think about this comic?
I mean, if you can ignore the horribly cringy bits, like overall plot decent. Like I didn't mind this comic so much, and like I said, by the time we got to like issue 4, where things started to get actually kind of out of the cringeworthy category and more into the hey, we may actually have to fight for our lives here. Maybe we should take this a little more seriously.
Yeah.
It seems like the comic started picking up and getting more.
Yeah. Agreed.
So I think, and honestly, I kind of felt the same way about the series with that too. Is that like we got past all of the beginning stuff that you need to show with teenagers, which was we got to put the team together. Who's going to be the leader of the team? Oh, now we've got a trust issue. Oh, now we've got another trust issue. Oh, I want to be the leader. No, I want to be the leader. You should be the leader. I don't want to be the leader. He's going to be the leader. Okay, fine, I'll be the leader.
Everything we went through before we started this podcast.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
We all know that Jen's the leader.
Exactly.
Jen?
It was a fast read.
Wow.
But I think that
Just have Statler and Waldorf. It was derivative. It was stupid. It was short. We loved it. No!
so I agree with you, Bear, that it got better as the issues went on, and one would hope that it continued in that vein beyond the issues that we read. But I feel like I really liked the storyline. It felt like, okay, the show has to have a more cohesive line than comic book issues. But, and maybe that's why I appreciated that more than the comics. I think that, again, this is another example of a team being able to create something better in a different media from a comic. I'm gonna stand.
I'll say
So you're saying less successful Umbrella Academy?
Yes. Yeah, there are other media there are other instances that I felt that, but yes, yeah.
So, for me, and I don't think I pointed it out at the top, we read the first 7 issues. And I really started getting interested at issue 5. 5 through 7 was good, and actually started to bring me. I actually kind of felt about the same way with the show, that I really didn't get interested, interested until about halfway through the season.
Yeah, there were 26 episodes in season 1, and I don't think I even looked up from my phone really until somewhere around episode 16.
Yeah, until the main plot really starts to swing in. But Alex, you had watched the show. Before.
I watched the show as it was coming out on Cartoon Network. So it's been interesting to revisit it and rewatch it, and with my previous understanding compared to how it is, it still holds up very well. Like the first few episodes, can be a slog just getting through the introduction, but even just the stories those side plots build up is really actually pay off later in the season.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, for TV show, totally spoilers. We assume that everybody's seen the first season of this.
Yeah, you can do
Great.
spoilers.
But I mean, compared to the comic I feel does not hold up as well, especially nowadays.
It depends. It depends on how bad you want that dose of 4-armed monkey love.
But no, like I mentioned before, the Wally West Kid Flash is infinitely more bearable than Impulse will ever be.
Well, yes.
The change in the Superboy, great, perfect. It plays really well with the change in tone comparatively. Because the original Young Justice just feels like a Teen Titans derivative, but this one is more of, we are an actual Justice League side team, so we need to get serious with how we deal with things. So more serious characters for more media.
Well, I was going to say, I also feel like and again, this was the series, making some story choices that I felt were solid compared to, and my first, the first thing that I think of is Artemis.
Yeah.
So Artemis in the TV show turns out to be not Green Arrow's niece,
right,
but Sportsmaster's daughter.
Right, the daughter of supervillains.
Yeah. Both. Yeah, because her mother is Huntress.
Was Huntress. Yes.
Yeah. But in the comic, and this is not really a spoiler, it's Arrowette, which I just have to go on record again saying using "et" to define a woman as the diminutive of a male character fucking sucks, and stop it.
At least use mighty. If she was endowed before, make her mighty endowed.
I'm just this whole penchant for I am just any with any of the teens, it's just I am just another version, especially with the arrows actually, because everybody's just another arrow.
Right.
Yeah.
The arrows are the worst ones.
Yeah.
But everybody's just it's even the same name. It's like you got Aquaman,
Except
you
for
got Aqualad.
Speedy.
Right.
It was Speedy.
It was Speedy, but then he
turned into Red Arrow.
Right.
And I'm like, so you're just another
Right. Well,
carbon copy, and it's worse too because the women are just like, you got nothing here.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
Yeah,
and
my
then-
name is McGann. You can call me Megan.
Yeah.
Like, really? That's all the further you got?
Ms. Martian.
Well, at least you're not having to say McGann, like Jahan, instead of just John.
I mean, for all its faults, like, I guess from my perspective, I guess, like, those first, I don't know, maybe 10 episodes where you're dealing with all the trust issues and all the generic teen stuff, if you have kids and you want to show this to your kids, this is great stuff. Like, this is great material.
Right.
For my personal taste, I'm just like, can we move on?
Yeah.
I got it. Could we have just condensed the first, like,
Right.
12 episodes? I should say, the only thing that got better, like, was a little bit funny and then stopped being funny and then just got funnier as it went on, was Robin.
Robin's
Yeah.
use of things
Yeah.
like overwhelmed, so he just says whelmed.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
so whelmed.
Okay, everyone, we're
everyone-
gonna whelm this one.
Yeah. Everybody's either overwhelmed or underwhelmed, and no one's just whelmed. And it's just like, I'm feeling the aster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's supposed to be a disaster, so...
I really liked the Robin.
It reminded me of it kind of reminded me of like the original Batman BTAS Robin.
Yes.
Oh, throwback, yeah.
Yeah. So just he's still a kid.
Yeah.
And he's like trying to make friends. So he's gonna do this wacky, funny stuff. And I think it has been mentioned in multiple like comics and shows and whatever that Dick is probably one of the most charismatic Robins.
Absolutely.
Out of the
Yeah.
4 now? 5?
I want to say 5.
Because it's Dick, Jason, Tim, Stefan, and then
Damien?
Yeah,
Oh,
thank
right.
you.
Damien.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Out of left field. Who
Nice.
caught that one?
Well done.
Well, and I have to say, to your point, the show, I think it does a good job of showing, like, different aspects of being a teenager without being overly dramatic about it. Hey, CW, take a cue.
Not you, Legends of Tomorrow. I
Yes,
still love
Legends of Tomorrow. Stop it.
Just reach over and pat him on the head, Jen.
Well,
Just-
you know what? At this point, they have jumped the shark so far. I mean, they're in a reality show, TV show in hell.
Well,
yes.
yeah,
So-
that's because they
I
jumped
walked
the
in on
time
that one.
machine into the pocket dimension, and it was...
Yeah.
There's a reason why you don't put your extra dimensional spaces in your extra dimensional spaces.
That's the whole point. Yes. Thank you.
They didn't have to make a show about it.
Back to comparing show and comic.
Thank you
I
for
think,
keeping us on
I
track.
think choosing Dick Grayson as the introductory Robin instead of Tim Drake was probably the best thing they could have done. Because Tim Drake is a great character. He is admitted by Batman to be and Ra's al Ghul. I don't know what language you're...
No,
Yeah,
it's
no,
okay.
it's fine.
It's fine.
Okay, and Ra's al Ghul
Your
to
mother
be-
is on this show.
Yeah, to be as good as a detective as Batman himself.
Yes.
Right.
He is...
He's the one that found out that Bruce Wayne was Batman and went to Bruce Wayne and was like, so I get to be a Robin now, right?
Yeah. He's a great character. He is smart. He has his moments, but he's not charismatic. So I don't think it would have worked as well if they had Tim Drake instead of Dick Grayson. But later on, they do make that transition as the show progresses and the timeline they've set up progresses. So, I mean, if you like Tim Drake, you'll get him eventually. Not so much Jason.
So I think the secret there, and I first of all, I believe you're right. But I think it's also a balancing act with Kid Flash.
Yeah.
It is that you need someone to be charismatic because no one else is.
Yeah.
Well, that and I feel like the Dick Grayson Robin he's so moral.
Yeah.
And he is so grounded. And he is so conscientious. And that's what that team is.
Right.
They need, he is a kid, so he acts like a kid, but they need that grounding
And
in the
they
team.
actually cover that in episode, I think it's 4 or something like that. The first one where we're actually trying to decide who's going to be the leader.
Yeah.
Right.
And Robin's like, okay, I guess it's going to be me. And then he messes up a few times, and then everybody's just like, well, this isn't going to work. We got to pick a new leader. And they all decide on Aqualad, but then Aqualad's like, I will take that burden for now. But we all know that you
are
going to be the leader.
Yeah.
You
Right.
just need to work on.
Right.
Yeah, we need to
You
work
just
together
need
as a
some
team.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the whole thing in that was that Robin is used to being on a team, but a team of two, and the team needs a leader that evolves with the team while the team is figuring out what the hell it is. Because otherwise it would just have been a Bat Family team again.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Like, and so the idea there is Aqualad also was a soldier. Because everyone in Atlantis is a soldier. And so his approach to it is more militant, which I appreciated. And
Well, but he's more strategic.
right. But I will say, and I can't believe you forgot it, there is one character that you liked much better in the comic than you did in the show. Red Tornado.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Red Tornado isn't he like just super sassy in the comics?
Yes,
he
he
is.
is.
He is a sassy bitch.
He is throwing shade
Yes.
24/7, and I am
thought-
here for it.
Hold on.
I'm here for it. Well, but I was going to say about the TV show, when you brought up Aqualad, I was like, this is great. They're developing his character. We're learning more about Atlantis and about him and like where he comes from, and then nothing.
Yeah, I mean,
Nothing.
past the episode where he gets dumped.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
that was
he
it.
goes back to Atlantis one time, gets dumped by the love of his life, and
For his best friend.
and then comes back the cave.
Yep.
But I mean, they foreshadowed never having to deal with that again. Like they set that up because they had was it Batman or who was it that was like said to him was like, you have to make a decision. It's
Are
either
you here or are you there?
Right.
And that's what that whole
And that's the
episode
end of
is
it.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On that note, I don't remember if it's in or in a later one, but you do actually get more Aqualad backstory. I'm just not sure if it's in this
I don't think it's
season.
in this season.
Okay, then I
Yeah,
will
it wasn't in
Yeah.
season
be quiet
one.
about it for
Okay.
now.
But you do. No,
Yeah.
but that's a good thing to bring up
Yeah.
because it's important for the questions that we will ask at the end of these. So the next bullet point I had on here was because we've done both a Batman episode and we have done a Joker. Was this the worst Joker you've ever seen? Because that was the biggest disappointment that I saw in this. The one episode that you actually get to see the Joker.
I don't even remember seeing
He
the
was
Joker.
fucking horrible. Talk about puns. That's all he did was puns.
Yeah.
It was so forgettable. I don't even remember. I don't even remember him.
But you know what? I think that's okay. I think it's okay because this is not the story for the Joker.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
I'm not sure why they felt the need to include him.
Because it was the worst villains.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think that they're really, okay, so they need to have the worst villain. So he was there. Cool. Moving
Well, he
on.
was in the Injustice League, which means that he got caught. Like, he was thrown under the bus.
Right.
But Joker would have seen through that or not followed the plan or,
Right.
again.
Well,
it's
and that's why I think
Yeah.
that is the biggest thing for me is the Joker is not a team player.
do.
No.
He would never be on a team. Like,
No, and pretty much as soon as he found out there was a team of bad guys, he would be fucking with them as much as he was fucking with Batman and the
Exactly.
Justice League.
See the Cesar Romero
Yes.
Joker from the 60s Batman show.
See
which
any
you weren't,
Joker.
if you weren't
I
scared
think
of
there
him,
was-
you weren't paying attention.
I think
Absolutely.
there was a recent Injustice League comic where Joker finds out he wasn't invited and then proceeds to booby trap the entire Mount Doom.
That's
And
fantastic.
until they invite him in, so
And then does he do a Groucho Marx and say, I would never be a member of a club that would have me?
I think it's like half and half. It's like the same way that in the more recent, I think in the Justice League Unlimited, Batman goes and says he's only a partial member. That's basically how Joker was in that one. And
Well,
in this one, I feel like he was disappointing because he wasn't in the element that we normally expect his Joker in.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is going one-on-one with Batman and doing crazy, ridiculous things. This was him working in the sidelines to just cause chaos everywhere as a big distraction.
Well, and to go back to the Cesar Romero, if you weren't scared of him, you weren't paying attention. it's because in this he was the wacky Joker, which is like, I don't actually kill people, I say puns, and like, I fail like every other villain does. And that's where you lose me, because even in the animated series, even in a kid's cartoon, he was dangerous as fuck.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
the Joker needs to be deadly. He
Yeah.
can't be a punchline.
Right. Well, and the thing that I thought was weird was, okay, the voice was to me.
Well, also true.
But that in that jape, the leader was Ivy. Poison Ivy was like the head of that. She was in
I'm fine with
charge
that.
of the I know
I'm
you're
totally-
fine with that, but I can't imagine the Joker ever being okay with
Oh, no,
that.
absolutely not.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you brought up the voice, because that
You're
is
actually going for round 2 on those? Like,
Yeah.
I was like one and done in this.
Yeah, no, I'm okay. I think this is the Mountain Dew that I will drink.
I'm going to dispose of the black cherry for the good of all.
Thank you.
But the voices is what I wanted to bring up, because this is like, I started going through the D.
Oh, yeah.
Not
Yeah.
just the superstar of all voice actors, the superstar of like getting known celebrities to come and do a voice. So, voice actor wise, Nolan North, Danica McKellar, who was she was Winnie on the Wonder Years, for you olds.
For you olds.
Kevin Michael Richardson, Phil Lamar, Crispin Freeman, Jason Marsden, and Tara Strong. Like, if you know voice actors, all of those are superstars when it comes to voice acting. But then you get into the much longer list of people that did like 1 to 6 episodes. Alan Tudyk,
On Tudyk, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Tim Curry,
Bruce Greenwood.
yep, Maggie Q, Marina Sirtis, who was on Star Trek The Next Generation.
Deanna Troy. Yeah.
Deanna Troy. D.B. Woodside, who he was in Lucifer. He's Amenadiel.
Yeah.
Also Robin Hood in Buffy. Renee Auberjonois, who was Odo in Deep Space Nine. Adrian Pasdar, who was in Heroes. Rob Lowe, you know, as Captain Marvel. Rob
know.
Lowe as Captain Marvel
know.
is just brilliant.
Well, like Captain Marvel came on the
We're
screen.
sitting there, and I pull out my phone, and I'm running through IMDb.
And I'm like, I know who that is. I know. And you were like, that's Rob.
No. I waited until you said it. You're like, is that Rob fucking Lowe? Brent Spiner.
Yeah.
Keith David, who as we just did Spawn this season, and
Keith David is
Keith
fucking
David's
amazing.
voice, man. John Delancey, Adam Baldwin, Alyssa Milano, and I saved the best 2 for last because they're both near and dear friends of the show. Clancy motherfucking Brown and Danny motherfucking Trejo.
Trejo.
Which, by the way, Danny Trejo should be Bane in anything that
Yes!
shows up with
Right?
Bane from now on.
Oh my god.
Absolutely.
They did Bane right.
Yes.
In the show.
Right.
They did Bane right.
Yeah, because they didn't portray him as like a walking hunk of muscle. He
Right.
is smart and
Right.
scary
Yes.
smart.
Yes, he's the
Yes.
man that broke the bat, but he broke the bat because he positioned himself to do so.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is brains and brawn, and people lose that about Bane for God knows what reason. But I love Bane.
The most recent run of Batman, very well. I think
Awesome.
it was I think it was the storyline around where they were gonna get Batman and Catwoman married. They had like a whole Bane arc going on in the background, and that is scary Bane
Awesome.
as opposed to muscle Bane.
So, I'm not I before this show, I saw, major superhero movies. I didn't read the comic. But the Bane that is in the Batman movie,
Dark Knight Rises?
yes, that you don't like. I thought that was a scary Bane.
I need to watch it again. It's not that I don't like it, it's that I've watched it 3 times, and same with Dark Phoenix. It slides off of my brain. Like, I can't remember anything about that movie.
I've watched that whole Christopher Nolan
Yeah,
Batman series several times. It's one of my favorites. I'm just shocked and awe that you watched Dark Phoenix 3 fucking times.
No, I'm not talking about Dark Phoenix.
He's watched Dark Knight Rises.
Dark Knight Rises 3 times.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's the same thing as Dark Phoenix. It just,
Yeah.
I retain nothing. Which is weird because I really like Anne Hathaway. I think that I was excited about her as Catwoman. Tom Hardy did a great job, except for that stupid fucking voice, and he's not Hispanic.
I kind of feel like, here's how I feel about Tom Hardy and the voice that he used for Bane. It's kind of like if I've got a Lamborghini, I'm gonna paint it like sun-kissed orange. Because what the fuck are you gonna do about it?
Right. Well, and I feel like somebody watched Dark Knight Rises, listened to that voice, and went, you know, that'd be a really good idea to just take his voice, modulate it, and make it Venom. And that worked much better.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so that's through my... Well, okay. But to go back one more, Clancy.
Yay.
Clancy! Anytime Clancy pops up. And again, the man... I love these celebrities that probably have a recording studio just sitting in their house because they're starting to do a bunch of voice work. Clancy shows
starting.
up. Well,
he's been doing voice work like longer than you've been alive.
Right. Well, that's. I mean, it is no secret that I am a huge fan of Freddie Prinze Jr.
Yeah.
But both he and Sarah Michelle Gellar, they have a studio in their house, and they make bank as just doing voice work. Sarah Michelle Gellar was Tila in the new
I was
Masters
just going
of
to
the
say,
Universe.
it took me, I don't know how many episodes before I realized that she was Tila.
Yeah, Freddie Prinze Jr. was a major character in Rebels, one of the voices of one of the main captains in Rebels.
Clancy Brown play
in Young Justice?
Yeah.
Hold on, I got it up.
Thank you.
Hang on, let me whip out the D.
By the way, Alyssa Milano as Poison Ivy.
Yeah.
That's inspired. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Fire breather King Faraday. So he must not have been in the first. He must be in a newer episode.
Yeah.
Still in one of them.
Parasite was Adam Baldwin.
He's not one of the Baldwin brothers that we...
No. Hasn't shot a dude, though, so...
Well, you know.
Give him time. But yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, but Adam Baldwin kind of follows along the same places Alan Tudyk goes, too.
Brent Spiner was the voice of Joker.
Is brilliant wherever he goes. Except for this... Yeah.
I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I didn't like it because his voice acting is, I don't want to say monotone, but he doesn't have enough dynamic range. He doesn't have a dynamic range.
I feel like we're all spoiled by
Mark
Hamill.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you know what? I'll just say that he gets his redemption arc in season 4. As little as it is, it adds to the story in some part, but you have to wait 3 seasons to see the Joker do anything of consequence. Again.
Okay, well, you know, it's hashtag goals. Anything else on Young Justice?
Not particularly that I can think of. It was, it wasn't, I wouldn't call it forgettable.
Right.
But it was definitely, like, I mean, there were things in there that I'm going to remember.
Alex, have you watched the new season that came out HBO Max?
Some of it, yeah. I think...
Has it changed? Like, has the formula changed
a lot?
Because they did a, like, Young Justice Outsiders
That's
thing, right?
the 4th season.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I'm going to just say that both of them were very apparent products of it.
Okay. Well, but I thought Outsiders...
2022.
Okay.
Like, just that time period, I think, was probably the best time for them doing Young Justice. Because that was in the era of them, like, I think just then coming off of the original show. And right before they're getting his go. And that is also...
Which sucked!
Yeah. And that is also the same era the Star Wars The Clone Wars show came out, which was...
So, like, a new renaissance in kind of animation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that, speaking of animation, it's done very well. I think it's pretty solid for, I mean, especially newer stuff. But
so I thought
the
Outsiders was in Titans.
No.
Okay.
They do have a lot of the Teen Titans characters. They have Beast Boy, they have Cyborg. I don't think they have Raven. I don't think they might have Starfire.
Okay.
But I know
Interesting.
they have Robin, which I think is the Drake. No, it's Nightwing. It's Nightwing at that point.
Okay.
And then it's Cyborg, but closer to Cyborg than
Booyah! Okay.
that Cyborg. And then Beast Boy earlier in...
My favorite.
Doom Patrol. I was just gonna say.
Robo-Boy?
Robo-Boy! Yay!
Well, they set up Beast Boy in the first season of Young Justice
with
because
Queen
McGann
Bee.
gives him the
Blood
the
transfusion.
blood transfusion. Right. Okay. Well, good to know. Because I did read some Outsiders comics. Like, God, I was living in Los Angeles, so it was a long time ago. But it seemed like it had Dick was on the team, Starfire was on the team, Beast Boy was on the team. That's all I can remember.
I need to go back. We were watching and just state my.
It's true. But it was Deanna Troy, so yeah, you're not going to get Beyonce.
I know.
You ain't getting no Beyonce.
Well, then
got-
she should not be called Queen Bee.
What if we got Queen Latifah? Does that work?
But
Listen,
it's not Queen Bee.
Still a queen.
it's true. So, Bear, will you continue to watch this show or read this comic?
I do not believe that I will continue to read the comic. I don't need a horny Superboy haunting my dreams.
But what if he has tactile telekinesis?
No.
I mean, even by the 7th episode, no, it was the Halloween issue.
Yeah.
Which was
The rest of the team are like,
Yeah,
yes.
yes.
No,
Yeah,
the girl,
tactile.
like the
Yeah.
girls who were not even part of the team, like you saw them in one panel,
Yes,
and they're
yes.
like, "Yes, you told us about this. Shut up."
Well, I thought it was funny because like it unlike Robin's puns, or Robin's humor in the series where you get whelmed and you get feeling the aster and
Yeah.
all stuff like that. That started to become more of a pun because I think it was issue 4 or 5. One of they're sitting there talking and Superboy's like, "Well, yeah, I can take care of that," and one of the girls goes, "Ooh, with your tactile telekinesis." Like he doesn't even get it out, like,
Yeah.
and it's somebody that he literally just met.
Yeah,
And
it's
just
the Halloween. It's the
Yeah.
Halloween
it's
one.
just
It's
a
what Jen was
fanboy.
talking
Like,
about.
oh, are you going to use your tactile telekinesis? Please, please, please. It's just like, okay, so it got funny eventually. If you
that
beat-
one time.
Yeah, if you beat a joke to death enough, eventually you will find a way to make somebody laugh at it once. No, I will not continue to read. Will I continue to watch? It is satisfactory background noise for like doing other
I was
things.
about to say, if we're getting together working on some Gasland shit and we have nothing else to put on in the background,
Oh yeah.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'll definitely. Because then I want to hear what the next one is. If it's not Whelmed or, Aster or I can't remember all the other ones.
I
that
can't either. Alex, so I know that you've watched. Did the first 7 issues interest you in reading more?
Not really, not a whole lot, gotta say. I am not really a fan of the early 90s stuff outside of, like, the detective comics. 'Cause
Which
once you
is
start-
hilarious because this is late 90s.
Yeah, sorry.
No,
Yeah.
don't apologize. It was written as if it was early 90s.
Even when this came out when I was into college, like like 98. So I graduated college 2 years, or graduated high school 2 years before, and I was like, even reading it then, I don't know if I would have enjoyed it. Like really.
That was around the same area they started giving Superman back his bullshit powers, right? Like turning him blue or something.
Oh no, that was actually early 2000s where they
Oh.
had Electric Superman.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
I-
this would have progressed into that era,
Yes.
which I'm sure.
So this is 10 years after Death of Superman. So Superboy's been around for 10 years at the
And he has not aged a day.
right. Well,
Well,
yes.
Past
Yeah.
14.
But that's
Whatever.
But in his case, they actually go over that in the comic.
Yeah.
yeah.
Although I do have to say that as far as the series goes, that was probably one of the most interesting bits of Superman I've ever seen.
Yes.
Is where we actually get to see Superman nervous and anxious and trying to figure out how to deal with a kid that's not his kid,
That's the biggest
but
part.
it's kind of his kid.
That's the biggest part of my interest in Connor Kent in both the comics and in this show. And I'm gonna jump forward and say that I will watch more of this show because I want to see the My Two Dads element. The
Luther Superman.
Yeah, the Superman and Luther, which is canon also in the comics. Connor Kent is a clone out of Cadmus, and Lex Luthor did use his DNA and Superman's DNA to create Connor. So I do like that story, especially since Luthor is a fascinating villain to me, because he is the greatest example of I do what I do because I believe it's right. Because we are depending on an alien, and why can't we just fend for ourselves? So his meddling to create a Superman that is half human is his next step to be like, okay, now I can replace Superman with at least somebody that's a little bit more human. Sure. And the Gene Hackman Lex Luthor, I know a lot of people like it, and it's got a lot, of history. That was not Lex Luthor in the way that I really enjoy, because Lex Luthor is first and foremost a humanitarian in all of the ways that the ends justify the means, and the means or the ends are the preservation of humanity above all else. It's a character that if you don't understand him, you're gonna fuck him up real quick. Because it's really easy.
And has been done.
Yes, it's real easy to just go, oh, he's a bald billionaire. Blah. Like, early Supergirl really fucks him up. But anyway,
I was gonna say, on the Luthor and Superman, it's interesting because you see Superman from a more human perspective than you normally. So just floating above everything, looking down on the main character.
Yes.
And at first, he doesn't even acknowledge Connor. He just stares at him and goes to talk with the rest of the Justice.
Yep.
And it's interesting that out of the two, I guess, parents he has, Luthor is the one to, talk to him first.
I mean, he hooks him on drugs, but
yes.
Yeah.
This is where we bring in the teenager drug element of the story.
Which, you know what? If you're going to introduce that in a cartoon, because let's be honest, the cartoons, have way more to worry about in a modern day context than comic book.
Yeah.
The comic book code is long gone, but the fucking Mothers League, or whatever the hell it's called, the Parents League, is way worse now than the comic book code ever was. So the danger of upsetting the parents, with, oh my god, you had a drug storyline in this cartoon. Well, no, not really. What it is it's a scientific thing that turns off his human side so he can be full Kryptonian, but he happened to get addicted to the power.
And it happens to be a patch.
Right. It's not like something he takes or something he injects. It's something he just places on his...
Kind of like
it's
fentanyl.
more medical.
Yeah.
It's more medical. It's not. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's not
right.
a street drug.
It's not a street drug like fentanyl that comes in a patch.
I personally think that it was done very well because it shows not only motivations of not only Lex Luthor but Superboy, because he wants to be Superman. It might be something that is either imprinted him or something that he has seen Superman. He knows what he is, and he either wants to be Superman or at least have Superman acknowledge him as an equal.
It's the classic teenage, you want your parents' love.
Well, but I also see it as he's frustrated with his limitations.
Yeah, that too.
And he sees what Superman can, and he sees himself as Superman. And so it's tempting to rather than better learn how to utilize the power that he has, it's more appealing for him to be able to just slap a patch on and then have access to greater power rather than, it's
I don't need Superman to train me or show me how to
use
my powers or anything like that.
Or I don't need to learn how to be more strategic about what I can do.
Right. As long as I have more power.
I want to have more power. Yeah. I want to be able to fly. I want to have laser vision.
Kind of a revisit of one of the early episodes where he's having the fight with, or he's going through training with Black Canary.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's like, I don't have to train with you. I have super strength. There's no point for you to train me. And then she proceeds to throw him around the room.
Right.
And then he gets all pissed off because he got beat by somebody that didn't have super.
So yeah, end of all that is that Connor is a milkshake, and he brings me back to.
Are you Megan? Hello, Megan.
Never, ever.
Let's face it. Out of this group, if we're assigning characters to people,
No.
Hello, Megan.
No. I will be Wally for a Megan. Jen, comics and show.
I will probably not read anymore, but I could watch some more of the show, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I have questions. Yeah. It might be something that I put on, you know, just when we have nothing else and we have 20 minutes before bed or something.
Right,
Like, okay, cool.
Exactly.
And we're out of 30 Rock to watch again. Well, Alex, thank you so much for coming and joining us.
Yeah,
man.
of course. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, everyone, this has been the penultimate episode of
Penultimate.
I just love that word.
You use it all the time, and I don't know, like, you're always just like, yeah, it's next to last, but it's be next to.
No, it's next to last.
Are you sure?
Yep. Yep.
Are you absolutely
I
sure?
am absolutely sure on that.
Because it just
I don't
doesn't.
know.
It doesn't feel right.
I always thought that it just final.
Echo, what is the definition
Hey,
of
I
penultimate?
got it. Last but one in a series of things. Second to last.
Oh, hey, yeah.
Echo, stop.
Thank you,
Say
Echo.
it again.
Penultimate is an adjective. It means last but one in a series of things. Second to last.
Okay.
There we go.
And our last will be Howard the Duck.
Hey, we get to see my bro.
Which, a little behind the scenes, we have recorded at this point. And it's a lot of fun. The movie wasn't. The comic book kind of was. But the show is a lot of fun.
Let's face it, the movie was horrible.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess we'll see everybody then. And then we'll see everybody in season 7.
Season 7.
And until then, take it away, Vandello.
Come with me, I'll tell a story that you might have heard before. Graphically novel, but the same old trouble. Villains always knocking at the door. Pretty pictures on the page, but nothing ever stays the same. Do 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 do. Come at me, now show you something you ain't never seen before. Right or wrong, or can't we all just get along? My mask is no different than yours. Pretty pictures on the screen, but nothing's ever as it seems. Do 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 do. Hero or villain, loved or hated by millions. Maybe it's wrong, maybe it's right, but you don't want to see my